Board of Commissioners meeting for the City of Henderson, Tuesday, September 27, 2022. Would you please stand with us and for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Roll call, please.
Howell.
Here.
Commissioner Pruitt.
Here.
Commissioner.
Here. Here.
Mayor Austin.
First on our agenda tonight, we have Missy Vanderpool and Whitney Risley with Economic Development, and they're going to give us an update and also review some marketing information. Welcome.
Having us. And Dawn has pulled up the landing page. When we were here a few months back, we talked to you about talent attraction and how important that was for our community. And so with recent successes that we're able to tout for our community, such as the Pratt paper and other economic development announcements we soon, we recognized in our organization that we needed to work on attracting people to live in Henderson, work in Henderson. So we came to you guys and thank you for your support and backing us in this project. We're happy today to kind of give you a sneak peek of what this campaign is going to look like. What you're seeing right now is the landing page. So everything that we send out through an ad will be targeted to go to this landing page, and then they can go from there where they need to go. You can see it kind of touts what the fun stuff to do in Henderson is, the great jobs, the lower cost of living. Those numbers are on there. There will be 4 individual videos that kind of talk about those initiatives, where it's manufacturing, also medical with our nursing and healthcare, the quality of life, and then the great places to work. We were able to feature 10 local companies that we are targeting for job growth, and so there'll be opportunities on there, and those will go out in ads.
This community, Henderson, Kentucky, is a very, very...
We're getting to the fun stuff. Y'all can listen to me all day long, but Linda White's much better to listen to than me. So the campaign, before we show the video, because that's really after that, you won't want to listen to me anymore. The campaign, they're finalizing all the creative pieces of that, and it's targeted to go out mid-October. It'll be an 11-month campaign, as I told you then. We're kind of targeting some areas initially. We'll be monitoring that closely, but things in the Nashville, St. Louis, that area, also maybe a little bit in Chicago, some other areas a little bit closer that we think that there's some opportunity to get people to move here. Maybe we have some similarities to them and more opportunities here. So we'll be targeting those areas. Mid-October, we'll have a press release that will go out announcing it, and then they will send it out, blast it out everywhere that they're going to blast it. Also, one of the pieces with the jobs specifically, they will be able to send direct emails to the job seeker. So algorithms and all that, we all know how we get those Facebook ads after we've been on Amazon or whatever shopping for something, and then next thing you know, the same dress pops up in 15 different ads. So they'll be able to take that and directly email to those people, their job seekers, this video or different ads about Henderson, Kentucky. So, do you have any questions about that before I show you the video? We're really proud of it, and so sit back and enjoy.
This community, Henderson, Kentucky, is a very, very prosperous culture. We have found the most personable people you could possibly imagine, who enjoy life, who want to work. They have a very strong work ethic, and proud to be part of Henderson.
Henderson County is special because we're located in a pretty good metropolitan area within 2 hours to Nashville, 2 hours to Louisville, but our market isn't saturated yet. So there's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of areas for growth, and it's great to step into an area and be the first to do something, So I think Henderson's a great space for that.
I think many that are not from Henderson may look at our community and say, that looks like a small sleepy town on the Ohio River, and it's anything but. There's a lot of robotics, there's a lot of high-tech equipment. You're dealing with all the things that high-tech companies in bigger cities are, but it is right here. So you'll get more than your fill of those opportunities to advance your education and use the most up-to-date equipment.
When we recruit, and we recruit all the time, we have many openings, we see a breadth of opportunities for many, many different people of many different walks of life with many different degrees of education. People come to us in their interview process and they look around and they say, wow, this is a really great place to live and a great place to work. So when you have that combination, you've got a winning proposition ahead of you.
Quality of education in Henderson is top-notch. And not only is academically are we one of the best, we have the best CTE unit in Kentucky. We know that academics are great and we want our kids to go to college, but also we know that trades are big in our country now. We can't find enough electricians, enough welders, enough plumbers. So our kids are leaving high school with apprenticeships. They can go right out of high school, go into the workforce, and you can get that at our wonderful Henderson County High School.
The community has, literally gone above and beyond. The city has been great to work with. We've got a massive team that wants to develop. They want to see growth in the community, and that's what's been huge. But then the community as a whole, they come together and support local people, local businesses, which is truly amazing. And we kind of do it on our end as well. We use tons of local purveyors, local farmers, and we try to support them in any way possible. So it all kind of comes full circle. It's amazing to see what the community does for these local businesses.
Plan to have a family, if you plan to establish yourself, is really a place you want to be, to raise kids around here, and to have a community who are focused on family first, and that I wanted for my kids, to experience more connection with the family.
If someone was looking at Henderson or the surrounding areas, I would really encourage them to take advantage of the river, the small shops, the small town living, look at the availability of housing, availability to get land, look at the wonderful school system. This is a small town with a big heart. And when people come from a variety of settings, people are just amazed at the small town feel. And I'll say it again, with a great big heart.
Main video.
Very good.
We're really proud of that. I hope you guys are proud of it as well. Kind of amazed how they captured everything in 3 minutes. Again, there will be 4 separate videos. They're still finalizing those that will kind of highlight more of the skills or more of the quality of life pieces, and they'll be segmented out in shorter, maybe 30-second videos as well. So we're really excited, really proud, and just wanted to give you an update and say thank you for your support on that. We think it was much needed, and I think it will pay dividends to our community. Do I have any questions?
I just want to comment, summed up what I've been saying for the last 40 years. That's the way I feel about it. If I was looking, somebody. I've been trying to say, truthfully, I tell you guys, journey I've been on with my daughter to see all these other places and still coming out with Henderson. Hey, I love Chicago, but there's stuff to deal with, and I'm going to take Henderson. Clean schools, no graffiti on the walls, just that safety, hometown feel. Even when we had Ice Storm, people from every walks of life trying to help dig out and whatever. Right there, that video, and what I would want to say to somebody, every place to live, that video will tell you what's on. It is.
Thank you very much for saying that. And Abby's probably back here going, gosh, she's going to cry again. But when I watch it, that's the same feeling I get, Robert, or Commissioner Pruitt, and very proud of our community. So.
You had a good cast of characters in there.
Some star appearances, some cameo appearances from some of our local folks. So.
The targeted market.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it before, but, you know, young people are now looking to find the community before they find the job. And so if we can show them that this community's here and there's jobs available, you know.
Many things tied in with this too, the communications back and forth with people and being able to offer them opportunities to connect with us and different things. It's, thank
Very
you.
much. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Whit. All right, good. Now we have a presentation with Abby Dixon, our Henderson Tourist Commission person. And Abby, welcome. We're glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. I'm Addie Dixon. I'm the Executive Director of the Henderson Tourist Commission. That video is awesome, ladies. Anyone who can make that child look so happy who was up every hour last night is a miracle worker. Good job, girl. So I usually tell a little white lie and say I'm going to be brief, but I'm not even going to lie about it this time. You're going to hear a lot from me at this meeting. I have a few different things that I'd like to cover. The first being our Aquatic Center feasibility study results. So just to jog your all's memory, a few months ago, the city and county chipped in half and half to fund a feasibility study. This was something that, at the time, Hendersonians for an Aquatic Center. Now they're an official 501c3 known as Henderson's Aquatic Vision for Everyone. And they were asking for support for this study as the first step to potentially build an aquatic center down the road in Henderson. The Tourist Commission was happy to serve as the contract holder for that project, so I've had the pleasure of working with George Dynas from Councilman Hunsaker over the past few months. He is joining us here today from Dallas, so we love her. And he is here to present kind of the findings. So as far as the next steps go, that's a wrap for the Tourist Commission's role in this project at this point. We're happy to turn over the feasibility study to HAV and let them kind of go from there on.
Okay, great. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Like Abby said, my name is George Dynas with Councilman Hunsaker. It's good to be with you all this afternoon. Councilman Hunsaker is a firm that was founded in 1970 by Doc Councilman, who was a legendary swim coach at Indiana University. And our company been based in St. Louis since 1970 and work on primarily municipal aquatic facilities, both on the feasibility study side as well as the design side. And so our goal here is to provide you all the information of what it would look like to have an aquatic facility here in Henderson, both the layouts as well as financial impact in terms of construction as well as operation. Is there a way to click the full, if we click full screen, I can click through it? There should be if you could do view full screen on the top bar there. Yep, there you go.
I think it's a PDF, so I think that is, yeah.
Okay, okay. We started our process just a couple months ago, so I'd like to spend a few minutes going through what we've been working on the past couple months, and would love to answer any questions or your comments you may have. And so we started out with looking at just the need, and that looks like a lot of things. So it's meeting and talking with the community. It's researching some demographics. It's looking at other area aquatic facilities. And some of the big picture items that we found was not only to promote health and wellness, to have a venue that can host competitive swimming events, ability to have warm water programming as well as support fire and rescue. We met with Swiftwater Rescue during this process. And so, again, about having an aquatic facility that is multi-purpose, multi-use, as well as multi-generational. We also had a kickoff meeting at Rookies a couple of months ago where we invited the community out just to hear their feedback on the aquatic facility. We heard, again, a lot of things just about being able to provide for the mental and physical wellness and overall health of the community through an aquatic facility. Talked a lot about the lack of diving for the high school swim team, and that, you know, they're not able to compete in diving, so then they lose points in their competitive swimming events. We also looked at just having a facility that has the ability to push through a lot of kids for swimming lessons. And also, you know, the YMCA obviously has an aquatic facility in town with a 6-lane pool as well as the warm water teaching pool, and so we had a lot of discussions surrounding that. On the competitive swimming side, as I mentioned, lack of diving was one of the big items that came up in several of our stakeholder group meetings that we held. We also, you know, saw that there could be the ability to host regional competitive events. That would be the primary way to help with economic impact and bringing outsiders into Henderson to spend dollars. And then if you'll notice, you know, on the slide here, you know, there's a lot of aquatic facilities hosting events on the northeast side of the state, and then Owensboro is actually the closest one to Henderson that has a 10-lane, 25-yard pool that they host competitive events. And so Henderson is uniquely situated to be able to draw some other events to this area. And then lastly, I mentioned the YMCA, and they have 2 pools. You know, it's pushing about 50 years old. The second pool, the warmer pool there on the bottom, was added a number of years ago. And so they have the 6-lane, 25-meter pool, which one thing to note is that high school actually competes in 25 yards, not 25 meters. And so the pool is not the regulation length for high school events. But we, you know, talked with them about their vision, met with Jason Beasley, the new executive director, a couple of different times throughout the study just to hear their vision for moving forward and what that would look like. And, you know, talked about if there could be a partnership at some point for the future growth. So when we look at the input we received from the community, as I mentioned, we also look at demographics in terms of population density, age, income levels, the area providers for aquatic facilities. One of the big things that we noticed is we have some internal metrics that we use that helps to determine demand for aquatic facilities based on a certain population. And so we found that even with the YMCA and their 2 pools, that we would say that Henderson County is still short on indoor water by about 4,000 square feet, maybe 4,500 square feet. And when you couple that with the fact that Union and Webster counties do not have access to any indoor water, that provides another 30,000 people that could be users of this facility. A couple of other things to note, you know, we did look at the number of aging adults because that tells us a lot in terms of how many people could use this facility for health and wellness. Obviously, aquatics is wonderful for aging adults because it takes impact off of the bones and the joints. And so that's the line that you see here, this blue line right here, and then right here is the growth of that 65-plus population that has occurred from the year 2000 projected to 2026. And so that's one of the higher growing categories of age demographics within Henderson. And then the other thing that we looked at was the number of young children, because that tells us how many kids could partake in swimming lessons at the facility. So at the end of our needs analysis, there were several, you know, buckets that we categorized in terms of the need for an aquatic facility, enhancing year-round programming, having access to both aquatic programs and fitness opportunities, track those from out of the market into Henderson. We also looked at, you know, having that additional lane capacity and availability based on the shortage of water, based on the demographics. as well as capital and operational partnerships. It's been our experience throughout the history of our company that the majority of indoor aquatic facilities are typically a subsidized endeavor, and a lot of times it will take various partnerships to help those come together, both on the capital side as well as the operational side. So that's always something that we recommend, is to bring a lot of partners to the table, and so you can provide that benefit. You know, that the subsidy that we might find with an aquatic facility, I prefer to call it an investment, because you're investing in the lives of your community and providing an amenity that enhances quality of life, both from the health and recreational perspective. So we looked at a couple of different conceptual ideas that would meet the needs of aquatic offerings and amenities and opportunities. And we want to make sure that we program in a variety of community aquatic spaces like you see here. And a lot of these can happen within the same pool. It's just about how it is configured. And so the first option, and there's some dryland support spaces that we would see as part of the facility as well. So the first option that we looked at was a two-pool option. We've actually overlaid these on the ball fields that are just about a quarter to a half mile from the YMCA, your location perspective, and just for a size and scale exercise to see, you know, what would this facility take on a plot of land that is recognizable to folks within the community. And so on this option, we have three bodies of water. The first one, I'll start here at the top right. This is a therapy pool. And so we would see the inclusion of this pool if there was some type of medical partner that would be involved in the project, you know, something where they would lease this program, and then they would provide aquatic rehab and therapy to people who are recovering from surgeries or injuries. Second body of water is this program pool. And so we're showing roughly, you know, 4 60-foot lap lanes, so not regulation length, but it's more about having open water capacity for both programs and fitness opportunities. And so just to give you an idea, you know, just in this space alone, you could easily have, you know, 32 kids in swim lessons at one time. You could have 25 to 40 adults taking in a water aerobics or water fitness class. This area can also double as open water recreation. You can include, you know, a water basketball or water volleyball or some other recreational type features. And then this option included a 10-lane, 25-yard competition pool, and then you can see here we have some spectator seating. This would allow training capacity, you know, anywhere from 40 to upwards of 80 kids at any given time, or more importantly, you could service a high school swim team and still have 4 lap lanes available to the public. And so that's really the value of getting beyond that 6-lane pool, is that you can have multiple groups in the facility at the same time. And so we also looked at, you know, the cost of this facility, not only the cost to build the pools, but obviously the natatorium enclosure, the support spaces, you know, with lobby, pool mechanical, locker rooms, as well as parking and site improvements. And the overall cost for this facility was just right around $18 million for the project cost, which includes contingencies and escalation, as well as all the design fees. Here's some representative images of similar facilities that we have worked on. There's the 10-lane, 25-yard lap pool with spectator seating. Here's an example of that recreational program pool, and you can see how it's adjacent to a lap pool. Sometimes these are in the same environment, sometimes they're separated, you know, with a glass wall or some retractable garage door, so you can still host a competitive event and programs in the other pool. And then here's an example of what that therapy pool could look like, again, for that designated purpose of medical rehab and there's also something that's fairly new on the market, but we've seen several installations across the country that have gone really well, and this is called Ninja Cross. And so it's actually a suspended system over the lap pool that you can lower down with literally the touch of a button in about a minute. And what it does is it allows a traditional rectangular lap pool to have greater recreational value. And so it's all about agility and challenge and strength training, and, think, American Ninja Warrior, over the water with a variety of activities, and they do competitions and leagues on this type of training apparatus. Second option, we wanted to look at the size and scale of similar layout, but we wanted to reduce the pools just a little bit, more of a minimum option. And so this was an 8-lane, 25-yard lap pool, and then we have just a little bit smaller program pool, but one that can still accommodate 24 to 35 kids in swim lessons, or a 25-person water fitness class. This one also, could have a water vortex, which is a recreational feature with moving water. It also could have a hot tub as well. So there's an example of what that 8-lane, 25-yard pool could look at. We'd see the inclusion of 1-meter diving at the deep end of the facility. One of the big reasons that we want to incorporate 2 bodies of water is just because we have different aquatic users, and the competition users want the water a little bit deeper, a little bit cooler because of their training, while the recreational, swim lesson, water fitness participants usually want the water closer to 86 degrees, whereas competitive water is usually 80 to 82 degrees. And so that's the main reason that we looked at 2 bodies of water within both of these options. Here's another example of what that program pool could look at. There's, a raised spa. We could also, look at other recreational amenities like a climbing wall on the side of the pool, just another thing to grab another user group. Really popular with kids 8 to 14. We find that the climbing wall services them. And then one of the things I also mentioned was just the ability to multi-use and multi-purpose, even a lap pool. And so this is a lap pool that's divided essentially into 3 sections. You have the deep section there where you have some diving going on off the diving board. You have this section, which is available for general open water swim and recreation. Then you have a couple of lanes set up for lap swim. And so we find, again, that you just want to be able to multi-purpose that water. Third option, and I mentioned that we have talked with the YMCA throughout this entire process. A couple of things there. Number one, we did hear, they do have some limited hours, not open super early morning when lap swimmers like to get in, say 5 a.m. But they also close the pool in the middle of the afternoon. And then when the high school team's in, there's not the availability to have open lap swim for the members. And so one of the things that we started thinking about is, based on the age of their indoor lap pool, that it is probably in our metrics would say it's probably time for some type of renovation in the near future. And so we got to thinking, well, what if there was a partnership with the YMCA, and we were able to take that indoor lap pool but build essentially a leisure pool within the lap pool. So keep the building and design a new pool within that same pool space. So that's what we're showing here, with some open water, a couple of lap lanes. Again, it could have a hot tub. But then what we would do is we would keep the existing warm water program pool, because that is a pool that's essential to any facility. And then we could build a lap pool directly behind it. Again, all contingent upon the fact that there could be a partnership with them. And so what that could look like, here's an example of what that leisure pool could look like. You have some lap lanes, you could have a children's area, you could even have a current channel. Again, a multi-use, multi-purpose recreational pool. This would help to also drive family memberships to the facility, because parents could take their kids. And that, especially with this shallow water area right here. And then this is a pre-engineered structure that we've been a part of in several of our projects, that has retractable panels. Also save on dehumidification costs, because on a nice seasonal day, you can open up the panels on the top or the doors on the side. And so, again, just trying to not necessarily provide a competitor to the YMCA, but showing how you know, a new aquatic facility and the existing YMCA operation could work together here in Henderson. And so here are the three options, just so you can see them side by side, how they differ again. The second option is a little bit smaller program pool and a little bit smaller lap pool. And so I mentioned, you know, this was about $18 million for the project cost. This middle option was right around $15.5 million. And then this option with the YMCA was about $13 million. And so it was also the lowest cost of the options. One of the key things working with HAV was that we want to make sure that all of the options provided lap swim, fitness swimming, learn to swim, water fitness, competitive swimming, recreational swimming, again, going back to their vision for everyone. And so all three of these options check the box on that. Then the last part of our scope was to not only look at the concepts, but what the operational impact would be on those. And so we start by looking at, you know, a typical facility schedule for an aquatic center, you know, both with a warm water pool as well as a cooler pool. You know, most facilities like this are open early morning to not late at night, but, you know, about 8 p.m. they start wrapping up their operations. And so, you know, different activities for the different types of pool are how we would typically see these programs. And then we also use that to help generate an expense budget. And so we have 4 primary categories between personnel, direct expenses, utilities, as well as a programming budget. And so as you'll notice, labor is about 40% of the expenses, the direct expenses, and that's going to be lifeguards, full-time staff, front desk personnel. And it varies a little bit from option to option. You know, option 2 is a little bit smaller body of water, so a little bit more efficient on staffing. Option 3, if it's combined with the YMCA, you know, maybe there's not front desk personnel because they already have somebody at the front desk, and so that could be a way to have some operational savings. Direct expenses includes chemicals, it includes repair and maintenance and operational supplies, as well as insurance. Then we look at utilities to run the pumps and the motors for the pool, as well as the building. And so all in, most of the options had an expense range close to $1 million, but a little bit less, so in that $950,000 range. And I have that spelled out here on the next slide after this next one. Then we also took a look at all of the different revenue opportunities, as I mentioned, based upon, you know, the demographics, number of young children, number of aging adults, the lap swimmers and triathletes and fitness swimmers in the middle. We have about, you know, close to 50% of the revenue would come from aquatic programs. We have also a vision to have this facility start its own swim team, and that's something that there's never really been a year-round swim team. The YMCA will offer a fall and a spring swim team, but never a year-round swim team. And so this facility would have the ability to do that and to grow it, as well as to host competitive events and generate revenue that way. And then also admissions and memberships is the other large category for revenue generation. So when we looked at the revenue, we were getting close to about $500,000, and just depending upon the option. And so on this, that's the box here. So on this option, it spells out not only the technical construction costs across the top line, so anywhere from 10 to approaching $14 million. Project costs, which again includes the contingencies as well as escalation factors and design fees, was $13 million to $17.9 million. We could see this facility, you know, servicing over 60,000 visits over the course of the year. And so, you know, just a really strong impact within the community for aquatic opportunities. The expense budgets, you know, anywhere from $894,000 to $972,000, and then revenue approaching $500,000. So we are showing this as a subsidized facility at this point with a cost recovery rate in that 50% range, which I would say is not uncommon for a facility like this. And again, that option 3 is the YMCA partnership option, and so there would still be a lot of conversations to be had about what that looks like, you know, how are membership dollars taken into account, who's actually controlling the facility. We have a couple of partnerships examples that I wanted to share. This is in Kingsport, Tennessee, a facility that we worked with. They have a YMCA city partnership where the YMCA operates the dryland portion of the facility, and then the city operates the aquatic center side. They have both indoor and outdoor aquatics. And then the YMCA they're in the same building. You literally go to one check-in desk that has the YMCA over here and the city over here, and you go to the YMCA to the left or the aquatic center to the right. But the YMCA provides the city 10% of its membership dollars for its members to have access to the aquatic center. Edmond, Oklahoma, we worked on a facility that was built on city land. It was the school district as a capital as well as operational partner, but then it's actually operated by the YMCA. And so just another way to see how three entities, two governmental and one nonprofit, can come together to make a facility happen. And then lastly is one of the newer facilities that we worked on in Lenexa, Kansas, in the Shawnee Mission School District. And this was actually a school district building that was built on city property, but it's actually operated by Johnson County. And so again, just another way that three agencies have come together to make a facility like this happen. So in summary, you know, the first bullet point is that, you know, we definitely see that this area is underserved with the amount of indoor water it currently has, and so there's that opportunity to create a new facility. We look at that 8-lane versus the 10-lane facility. Obviously, the 10-lane could generate more interest for out-of-town guests, while the 8-lane still, you know, could host a fair number of events. I think the one opportunity there is to host events. I think the one thing to think about is that, you know, you're starting with essentially no swim team, and you have to build that up. And competitive swimming events are usually run by parents. They're filling out ribbons, they're running the hospitality room, they're timing for the swimmers. And so it might take just a little bit to build that team up to be able to host, you know, more than, say, 2 or 3 events per year, but we definitely think that there's an opportunity to do that. Have there the cost ranges, you know, anywhere from $15.5 to $18 million for the standalone facility. And then I think that, you know, pursuing the partnerships would be the next step in this process to look at, you know, the overall cost for the facility, both the capital as well as the operational side, and start talking to the various potential partners about what that could look like and, you know, what the next steps could be for a new aquatic facility here in Henderson. And so with that, that's a brief overview, hopefully brief, and would welcome any questions or comments that you have at this time.
Covered it pretty well. I think everybody sees the situation and understands it.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Needless to say, I have learned a lot about the aquatics industry over the past few months. I keep asking George where the lazy river concept is with this plan. He has yet to produce that. Okay, so let's move on a little bit to just what I'm going to call generally the state of tourism in Henderson County right now. I have a handout. As well. Okay, so I come bearing very good news. So each year we work with the Kentucky Department of Tourism, commission Tourism Economics, which is a firm out of Toronto, really known as being the best in the business as far as being able to put a number on what the economic impact of tourism is on our individual communities. So we just recently received our 2021 economic impact numbers. So that's on this page right here. So in 2021, tourism meant 550 jobs throughout Henderson County for Henderson Countyans. That's not something to take lightly. The labor income, the state and local taxes, it's just making our communities stronger. But what I really want to point out is the total visitor spending in 2021. So that number was nearly $82 million. I'm very pleased to say that is 2.5% higher than 2019's reported numbers. So that means we have officially surpassed pre-pandemic visitor spending levels in Henderson County. That's huge. So when the pandemic hit, you know, what we were hearing was, of course, hospitality and tourism, first to be hit and probably the last to recover. We were looking at 5 to 7 years before we felt like we could say we have recovered. That's not what we've experienced here in Henderson. So I think globally we're recovering faster than what was originally predicted in March of 2020, but certainly here in Henderson, some of that can be attributed to, you know, we're not a destination that really relies on conference travel, for example. Conference travel may never come back the way that it once was. I'm really proud of our hospitality partners. We have great events, we have great attractions, we have hoteliers, restaurant owners that have gone about this the right way. They've been able to welcome visitors while keeping them safe throughout the pandemic, and it's really nice to see the light at the end of the tunnel and be able to say, it seems like we're coming out on the other side. So I'm very, very pleased to report that dollar number. So a few things that I just wanted to touch on, and I feel like I could talk all day about all the fun things that we get to do at our office. But, you know, I feel like so many things that we do are really visible in the community. So I think about the grants that we give to attractions and events that draw visitors. I think about operating our Welcome Center. Just yesterday, we had 26 visitors in. I'd say 3/4 of those people were visitors, not our own, you know. And that was a Monday, you know. I always kind of cringe when people walk in on Mondays looking for, you know, other things to do because a lot of things are closed. But if the demand is there, we might see a shift in that. Businesses might decide we need to open on Mondays. I can tell you the visitors are here in our market and they're ready to experience everything. So our Welcome Center, our riverboats, those are the things that you all really see. But so much of what we do is behind the scenes. I think if it was really visible in the community, we probably wouldn't be doing a very good job at attracting visitors to come into our community. So just a few things to hit the highlights when we're kind of recapping fiscal year 22. So you all might be familiar, we produce and distribute an annual travel guide. Actually just won a Gold Traverse Award in our state awards. So it's an award-winning travel guide. We produce both a digital version and a hard copy. In fiscal year 2022, we distributed about 7,500 hard copies in state welcome centers and along routes that we purchase placement on, you know, thinking strategically where people are coming from. So 7,500 went out that way, and we really revamped the way that we got our digital guide out. So what we used to do through our reader response programs that we work with different publications on, we would collect addresses, and when we had enough for a bulk mailer, which sometimes was a month later, sometimes was 2 months later, we would send those out in the mail. And then, you know, it could be a couple months after you requested this information, you get a brochure, but you really don't have a person to. So we've changed the way we do that now that we're collecting emails. We have, I'm going to call it personalized concierge service for these people who have specifically said they're interested in Henderson County as a destination to visit. There's someone in our office that emails them, calls them by name, asks them what they're interested in, what's bringing them to the area, offers trip inspiration, and this way we can really see how they're moving down the pipeline, what got them interested in Henderson in the first place. When we're sending information like, how'd you hear about it? So that's something that I'm really proud of. To my knowledge, we're the only commission in the state that handles it. But I take a lot of pride in that personal service that we're. So we sent out 4,800 digital travel guides service in fiscal year 22. We maintain hendersonky.org. That's our website. We have a new website launching in the next 2 weeks. So excited for that. In fiscal year 22, we had over 71,000 users to our website. So we were proud of that number as well. Those are people going to our website, searching for information about things to do, businesses to visit. We also produce a monthly e-newsletter. Right now we have over 8,100 subscribers to that, and our open rate hovers between 18 and 22%. Industry standard is 14%. So we're really proud of that number as well. So as far as just kind of our daily marketing operations, the stuff that you guys don't, I wanted to shed a little bit of light on some of the things we're doing behind the scenes. One of those things, 2023, I have to add this. We lobbied asking for $75 million in ARPA funding for the industry. Not thinking in any world we would ever actually get $75 million. We got $75 million for the tourism industry in Kentucky. So we're actually headed to, thank you. We're headed to Frankfort on Thursday to celebrate that. That's a chunk of money coming back into Henderson County. Honestly, it's overwhelming for me to think about because some of these things that I've wanted to do for 5 years, now we're able to do. So you guys will see some really, really cool things coming. We have a 9-part docuseries, we'll say. Video, video speaks volumes. Those beautiful images, it's how we can tell our story. So we're going to be able to get that out there to the world. We're partnering with streaming services like Hulu and Netflix to really target our target visitor audience, Nashville, Indianapolis. Going out then. On the riverboat note, one thing that I want to touch on because I know there's a lot of buzz out there. You all might have seen that Evansville is now getting dockings from the American Heritage. So this gets kind of confusing, you guys. I even get tripped up on the words. I created a flow chart. So I think it's important that you all know kind of what's going on there. So we work with 2 different cruise lines, okay? We work with the American Queen Steamboat Company, and we work with American Cruise Lines. American Queen Steamboat Company, Queen, the Countess, and the Duchess. American Cruise Lines is the American Heritage. We used to know it as Queen of the Mississippi. So this year we had 26 river cruises on our schedule. Just to put it in perspective, 20 of those were American Queen Steamboat Company. 6 of those were American Cruise Lines. So the product that these 2 cruise lines offer to their guests is vastly different. And the way that we work with the cruise lines is different as well. I'll start by saying American Queen Steamboat Company will continue docking in Henderson. We have a great relationship with these folks. We go above and beyond. Like I take their crew to the dentist. I mean, it's kind of a weird relationship, but we go above and beyond to make sure they have everything they need. They stay half days, sometimes full days, sometimes overnight, which is always really neat. These are the folks that we are offering the hop-on, hop-off tours on the motor coaches for. So we have 22 local guides that we work with this year that all do a fantastic job showcasing Henderson. These are the people that you see shopping in our stores. They're on our streets. We can all recognize them when they're in bags every time. They experience the state park. We've done some really neat premium experiences like a horse experience at Ellis Park, a bourbon experience at Home Fruit. This is where the economic impact. American Cruise Lines, on the other hand, it's just a different product that they offer. Their schedule is a lot more rigid. There's not really a lot of local flavor involved in the product that they offer, so they don't want us to be as involved. At 8:30, they pull in, their guests hop off the boat, immediately onto a motor coach, they go to the state park, they go to the LST, they come back, get back on that boat, and they are gone by 12:30 every single time. In some ways, it's easier, but we don't see the impact that we do from American. Those are the folks that are going to Evansville. If I'm being completely honest, that dock is better suited for what they need. They don't need to pull up and experience a beautiful city. That's not part of what they're really offering. They're offering these very specific attractions. Here for their guests to hop off onto that dock and then immediately do and leave. So I say that to say it's not that I'm happy that these folks have started docking in Evansville. They are still coming over to Audubon State. If I'm really a glass half full person, they're doing all the same things they were in Henderson. We're just not providing trash and water services now. I am okay with those 6 cruises going to Evansville. And we're going to continue doing all the great things that we already do with American Queen Theme. Our guests, we love it here. I wish that all of our residents could see. They're just enamored with our, how green it is, how great the shops are. They love the state park. They really love that bourbon experience. A little too much sometimes. I just wanted to clarify that because I know there's been a lot of buzz and it's such a point of pride for our community. So let's all be on the same page. The last thing that I'm going to touch on, and then I promise I will wrap it up. We're talking about all these great things happening as far as the tourism industry goes in Henderson. We've got it going on, you guys. We have visitors here in market. What I'm concerned about is we are losing economic impact because we have some gaps in the lodging accommodations that we can. Something that was a catalyst project in the vision plan and then popped up again in the downtown master plan a few years later was a big picture project, big dreams of having a boutique hotel downtown. I think can attest to this. A few years ago, pre-pandemic, we really started working on this, digging into this, getting serious about pursuing a developer to come to Henderson and a nice boutique hotel, something that really felt local in our downtown area. When the pandemic hit, and for obvious reasons, the conversation, we're ready to pick that conversation back up. In fact, we already have. And what we are hearing is we've got to have a feasibility study if we want to. She just had a running conversation with a developer who said feasibility study. So Vision Committee has met. We feel good about a proposal that we received from Hunden. I talked with 3 firms. Got proposals from 3 firms initially. Hunden, you all probably recognize as the firm that led the sports complex feasibility study, so they're familiar with Henderson. They are known as being the best in the business as far as destination development goes. Some of the boutique hotel projects they've worked on have been really cool. They've worked on 21C hotels. They've worked in small towns. They've worked in big cities. Excited to see what they come like would be a good fit for us. So I guess on behalf of the Vision Committee, I would like to formally make the recommendation that budget on a feasibility study is able to negotiate Hunden down to $25,000. Travel expenses not to exceed. And I'm happy to answer.
On our agenda a little bit later. Yeah, real quick. How developments work in that area, and I have a good feeling about it. Maybe more than one in our community at large. Other opportunities coming up that may offer a good situation for some good. Any other comments? Development, I've never seen. Really a big thing here.
We work really well together, and I think we all recognize what's good for economic development is good for tourism, vice versa, chamber, we need each other. We need. So,
Yeah,
proud
Evansville
of what we
Business
do.
Magazine recently, did a page on Henderson's, these folks, and 20 ladies that are all featured in that photograph. And, those are really people that are really making this community move. And I very much appreciated. Every one of them has a key role in this community. They're all doing a great job. And the great thing about it is, they all get along. You know, you get 20 women together, how many times do they go all get along? But they actually do. And, our chamber or downtown Henderson folks, can go on and on and on. And it's very beneficial. And people are starting to feel good about this community. I sense, anything from the new flowers on the poles downtown, which are absolutely beautiful, to the shops, restaurants. All you have to do is drive downtown at 5:30 or 6 o'clock at night and look for a parking place someplace. Things are happening, and they're happening in the right way and in the right order and at the right time. And thank you all for your
I just want to say, I hadn't seen the picture of the 20 ladies, but I know these three.
Yeah.
But since pre-pandemic, I think they really began to think outside the box. I think if we can do it. Really for the last two terms, they've been targeted on, let's do it. And do that. Henderson is starting to show going into the next 2 years and the next 4 years. We're going to be proud. That has been working. 20 ladies that the other 17 I hadn't seen, are really doing a good job. And I'm gonna put Donna in there too because.
Yeah, Donna's in there.
Oh, she's there, okay.
She's in there.
That's why I said I hadn't seen well, the other 16. And I'm gonna throw our city attorney in there too. I hope you're in that picture too. What she does for us and make sure that she's in there too. She should be. Yeah, she should be. If she's not, she should be 21. But congratulations on all you guys doing. I'm excited.
I mean, bring the city a big. Makes our job easy when it comes to you request money from us. Very easy to see the quality of work that you've done so much that you're going to take.
I'll ask for more.
Pool, a hotel, a sports complex.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
We're proud of the work we do, and we appreciate all that you all do as well. It's really a team effort, and I think.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We will move on to our agenda. Is there anyone here that wants to bring something before commission that is not on the agenda? Okay, we will move on with our agenda. We have a consent agenda with 3 sets of minutes and 1 resolution and 2 municipal orders.
Minutes of the November 20 meeting, December joint city county meeting, and December 14th, 2020 22, resolution authorizing participation in adoption of the Henderson County Area Solid Waste Management 5-year update years, 2022 through 2020. Municipal Order 61-22. Municipal order approving change order number 1 to the agreement with JBI Construction Incorporated of Evansville, Indiana. Of Kentucky 425 Henderson Bypass, turn lanes to Pratt Paper in the amount of $86,035.97. Authorizing the mayor to execute all necessary documents on behalf of. And municipal order 62-2. Municipal order awarding bid for an aluminum mobile command post department to Trailer World Incorporated of Bowling Green, Kentucky, in the amount of $50,550.
Thank you. I want to mention that the adoption of the solid waste management plan update is just a regular thing that happens every 5 years, and the city and county work on that together. The municipal order on the turn lanes for Pratt, that has to do with dirt stabilization out there. As you know, all over this county, we're having problems. Stabilization of the dirt. And as we've had to do in other places, and as they're having to do now on the I-69 project up off of the bypass, they're having to add a supplement to that dirt to stabilize it and make it hard enough, where it will compact enough to do the purpose, to have the purpose. And on the mobile command post, that's a situation and events situation that the police department can use when as needed. And we've had 3 or 4 things come up in our community in the last year that could have been very valuable to our police department. So is there any, and then we have okay, that's all. Is there any item that a commissioner would like to pull off of the consent agenda for further discussion? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Howell?
Aye.
Thomas?
Aye.
Next, we have a first reading, an ordinance amending administration regarding assistant city manager position.
Ordinance number 29-22, ordinance amending Article 3 to administration.
Is there a motion to approve, please? Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
I just want to make a comment. Years ago, I was the one who said that I didn't think at that the assistant city manager didn't have a lot of things going on, and our city manager, I thought, could have. Fast forward 16 years now, we got so many things going on, new communities. You've been running buzzy, ragged. You've been filling in almost like an assistant city manager with us. I think now's the time to look at.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We've got big and layered projects that are honestly are too much for one person. And aside from the workload, just to have somebody there who can train out to be the eventual successor.
And I think we're just only going to get more busy in the next 4 years.
Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
Next, we have a resolution authorizing and approving the request from Henderson Tourist Commission for funding from the vision plan budgeted to use for the market analysis for financial feasibility for new hotels in our city.
Number 35, dollars from the market analysis.
Motion to approve. So moved. Questions or comments? I think we got the story on that, so.
Just want to make a quick budgeting comment. Follow up what you said, and great that money has been budgeted. We budget a certain amount of money every year. I think this year we and then they use that money to perform activities throughout the year that are in line with the vision plan. And so this is not going to require this is actually us authorizing about half of their budget, a little bit over half, toward this stuff.
We do have a vision committee. There's about how many members they have? About 15. They meet quarterly and are very helpful.
One comment I would like. The Chamber, Tourism, and it's a fair statement. We have met now with 3 developers. All 3 have asked the same information. We're serious about moving. The vision group came to this point and bring it forward. Another part of the
roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
City manager's report.
I have 2 things. The first thing, we may have a work session in October. If we do, it will be with regards to our sanitation and recycling program. And the second item, I'm going to defer to our city attorney and let her explain the zoning map.
You all probably remember at our last meeting, we had second read on the new residential subdivided manufactured home district. And that is primarily because of the 3 acres subdivision that got annexed into the city as R2 and really can't replace any of the manufactured homes out there. So we created this district, but now we need to do a map amendment to encompass that district. Plus, there are 4 other lots. If you look at the map that was in your packet, there's 4 other lots on Old Community Road that weren't in the original 3 acre subdivision, have manufactured homes on them, and are R2, so they are limited on what they can do. So what a map amendment does is instead of doing a parcel rezone, it rezones this entire area. It is easier for the individuals out there because they don't have to come and prove their need for rezone. So if you all will make a motion to send this for a public hearing and recommendation to the Planning Commission, then the Planning Commission will notify each parcel owner of the public hearing. So they'll have the opportunity to come in and state one. And then that recommendation, if approved and recommended, will come back to us and we will do an ordinance to amend our current map. Add that. So again, this is going to give these homeowners flexibility, which right now they don't have. It really doesn't.
Oh, please.
House?
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas?
Aye.
And you're one of the.
I mentioned
is it?
Possible works there.
Okay, yeah, okay, got you. Commissioners report, Commissioner Valdez, anything today?
Yeah, or they use the Gallery 101 space.
Quality down there, glad you were able to use that.
He does a great job.
Thank you. Mr. Pruitt, anything?
I just want to say that, there's an article in the front page of Gleaner and the Carrier Press. Carter and Chuck Smith wrote up a beautiful article. Hadn't got a chance, I heard about it, but
Yeah, I read it this
I'm
morning.
gonna run and go through as many papers as I can. It's no secret, I tell people, that Steve Henderson has some of the best qualified, the best people, the best compassionate people in the world. And what's going on, we're getting a chance to put that kind of video up and let people really get to see just who we are. That's what I've been believing in and continue to believe in and work hard for, and that's what I'll continue to do.
Commissioner Staton?
Nothing.
Commissioner Thomas, anything?
Not today, thanks.
I have, two appointments, or three people, but two areas that I had alerted you on this earlier. Parks and Recreation Commission, I would ask that you reappoint to a 4-year term Melanie Lee, and that term ending 9/14/2026. Is there a motion to approve, please?
Someone?
Is there a second? Second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Municipal Housing Commission, we have two people that have done a really good job for us, and they're at every meeting and participate every time. And the first is James Hickerson. And James Hickerson, I'm recommending reappointing to a 4-year term on the Municipal Housing Commission with a term ending 9/30/2026. Is there a motion to approve, please? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
And then, Rosa Woods is a wonderful lady that is a resident member of the Municipal Housing Commission, and she has not missed a meeting. And, the resident member's term is a 2-year term, and I would like to recommend to, reappoint Rosa to a 2-year term ending 9/30/2024. Is there a motion, please? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
And we have a need for executive session.
I move that the commission go into executive session for the purpose of deliberation on the possible purchase of property located in the vicinity of North Water Street, 5th Street, and Elm Street, and the purchase of property in the vicinity of South Green Street and Sand Lane pursuant to KRS 61.810, paragraph 1, subsection B, and for the purpose of economic development in the lighting of a project pursuant to KRS 61.810, paragraph 1, subsection G.
Is there a second, please? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
We are in executive session.
My brain